rebuilding trust in your relationship. Today we're tackling that subject. I'm your favorite coach, Rodney D. Robertson, and I will help you win in relationships. So today I want to answer the question that I received from a viewer. How can my husband and I rebuild trust now that it's broken? Good question, and thank you for your question. This question is loaded because oftentimes when we hear about a breach of trust, most time we want to immediately think infidelity. However, a breach of trust is not just limited to cheating or infidelity. It could be a breach of trust when there's a pattern of lying and manipulation. It could be a breach of trust when there's a pattern where your partner is not keeping their word or their promises to you. It could be a breach of trust when your partner is consistently withholding things from you. So I don't want us to just limit a breach of trust just to infidelity. And because it's general here, this question is general, I'm going to have to also be general with my responses, right? And we're going to do this in two parts because it's a very loaded question. And I want to give you guys enough tools to work with as far as rebuilding trust with your partner in your relationship. So the first thing we want to do, number one, I typed some things up here. We want to get clear. Write that down. Get clear. Now, when I talk about get clear, I'm talking about having an honest dialogue. And this conversation is going to be very uncomfortable and eye-opening at the same time. What do you mean, Coach? I mean, this is going to be the opportunity to uncover the reason for the breach of trust, right? Because oftentimes couples want to rebuild trust, but no one has acknowledged or uncovered the reason for the breach of trust. And we got to get to that because if the reason for the breach of trust is not uncovered or acknowledged, there's an increased opportunity for it to be repeated in a relationship. Did you get that? I'm going to say that again. If the reason for the breach of trust is not uncovered or acknowledged, it can lead to an increase of opportunity for it to be repeated again in the relationship. So we got to have an honest conversation. And during this conversation, also, you're going to share with your partner how this breach of trust has hurt you. Now, when you share from your perspective on how this has impacted you adversely, I want you to paint the picture. I want you to be very visual so that your partner can be clear on how this has impacted you in a negative way, right? The next thing I want you to do during this honest conversation or this get clear session, I want you to tell your partner what you need from them to rebuild trust. Did you get that? I want you to tell your partner what you need from them to rebuild trust. Because right now they're having to follow your guide or your lead in this situation because why? They broke your trust, right? And so now they must rely upon your guidance to help them navigate this breach of trust. So get clear. We're going to have an honest conversation. We're gonna talk about how this has impacted us adversely, and we're going to allow the other individual to unpack and uncover the reason for this breach of trust. Right. The next thing we want to do is number two. We want to own it. This is very important for the person who has violated your trust. That your partner needs to hear you own it. And a very general I'm sorry is not going to work in this case. It's not going to work. You got to be very specific. I'm sorry is not going to work. You're going to have to own it. And own it means that you're going to have to apologize with the reason in like filling in the blank. I apologize for deceiving you. I apologize for breaching your trust. I apologize for lying to you. I apologize for withholding information from you. I apologize for not keeping my word to you. Own it means being very specific. So just saying I'm sorry, it's not going to get it. It's not going to help rebuild a person's trust. You got to be able to own it and be specific about exactly what you are owning. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, right? So first we said number one was get clear. Number two, we're saying own it. And number three, I want to share this with you, is give your partner time. Give your partner time. Give your partner time. Why is this important? Because people process things differently, right? People process things differently. And so even though that you are going to unpack this and uncover the reason for your breach of trust, and you are listening to your partner on how they were adversely hurt, and you are deeply apologizing with corresponding action, you must also give your partner time, because they're gonna need time to process what they have heard, what they have seen, and what they are experiencing in this time of your relationship. So show them some grace. They can need some grace at this point. Show them some grace. All right, so those are the top 3 things I want to start off with for rebuilding trust. I'll see you in the next video.